Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the official ARK Podcast number 71. My name's Brad, and I'm here with the core team. Your host tonight, as always, our wonderful leader, Atlas. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Brad, for the introduction. And welcome, folks, to tonight's podcast. This is number 71. We are here at ARK, always warm, always sunny, calm, cool, and collected. ARK. The ARK price is at $5.69. Market cap, 4,670,944 USD. And the Spark prize pool is at 148.69 ARK. That's a street value of 846.05 BUSD. We have not given that away yet. We've got some updates for you, something special that Brett has cooked up for the community. Education, as you know, guys, is the most important factor in being successful here with your investment and managing it to the level that is really, prime. We don't want to push the boundaries, but even if you do, there's a couple factors that you need to equate and take into consideration. 14-day average is very important here. So we're going to go ahead. Maybe you want to introduce it, Mr. Brett?
Yeah, sure. I created a new, I guess a little bit of a backstory. This is kind of in response to a lot of the questions we've been getting in the tech support and just the main TG, and also in Discord as well about CWR and people noticing, fluctuations and then playing with the allocation sliders and having some fun there. And then, a couple weeks down the road, starting to see that their CWR is maxed out or, they can't take actions and things like that the way that they want to. And so this was kind of in response to that, sort of a best practices documents, but I called it a tips and strategies page for CWR. And it's now in the white paper under the pump and dump throttling. There's a little drop down menu there. And I just did a quick video just kind of capturing it and then kind of walking through what the white paper says in relation to the vault and kind of hopping back and forth. So I don't know if you wanted to play the video, then I can answer any questions someone might have, and that'll give you plenty of time to set up the Spark if you haven't already.
Let's do it. Here we go, folks. I'm going to actually also just take away the background so we can really zero in and hear very clearly this important public announcement. Let's get this crypto.
From the ArkFi team, and today I want to walk through the CWR tips and strategies from our white paper, which gives a really good outline and starting point for people who are either just jumping into the ArkFi investment or they're coming from another project and may have some strategies that they're carrying over that may be daily schedules or weekly compound and withdrawal schedules. And we want to make sure that it's clear that this system is unique and it's different. And the strategy to follow is also different based on how the DApp works, and also what we encourage people to do in terms of a balanced approach to withdrawing and compounding. So I'm just going to walk through this page and then also flash back and forth to the DApp just to kind of show you a live vault account so we can get an idea of what's going on here. The first thing that we recommend is to follow a split allocation strategy. So what do we mean by split allocation? Well, on our DApp, you are able to move these sliders here to take the available rewards and then split them up between compounding and withdrawing. And that's really the most effective strategy to do when you perform an allocation or perform a distribution of your available rewards into a compounding bucket or a withdrawal bucket. So what we recommend doing is selecting a CWR schedule, so planning ahead and having an idea of what your CWR target would like to be. And on the white paper over here, I'll just jump back really quick and talk about the various schedules that you can follow first. So we have the section here, plan your CWR strategy. And we talk about if you'd like to ROI faster, a 50% compound, 50% withdraw once per day would be most effective. So back on the DApp, if we're saying that we're going to follow that schedule because we'd like to ROI sooner than later, then we would take these sliders here and we would move them, the compound to 50% and the withdrawal to 50%. And then we would hit allocate. And that would send our compound, 50% of the available rewards would go to our compound, which go into the principal balance. and then the other 50% of the 2.75 rewards would go into your wallet. So that seems pretty straightforward. And as long as you're doing one of these allocation actions per day, that would keep you at a 1.0 CWR. So if we go back to our table here, we see 50% here on the compound column and 50% on the withdraw column, and that equals a CWR of 1.0. And without a legacy NFT, we can go up to a CWR of 1.5, which would be a compound percentage of 60 and a withdraw of 40. And if I go back to my DApp, I can adjust that here to 60 for my compound. Just a smidge there, 60 and 40. And then I would hit allocate there. Now, as long as we're in the green on this CWR gauge, I'm not going to worry too much about, these decimals over here. If I'm above 1, that gives me plenty of buffer above that 0.75 number, which we'll get into in a second. And so I shouldn't be concerned if this is fluctuating a little bit over here, because when I come back to the DApp, maybe it's an hour later than I did it the day before, I'm going to see some variations in my CWR, and that shouldn't be alarming. What I don't want to do is try to adjust these here, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the white paper. I don't want to adjust this here to try to get to a different estimated CWR down on the button, because that's just, it's confusing my schedule as I get to the end of my 14-day rolling average, which is how the CWR is calculated. So let's go back to the white paper real quick and talk about this allocation here. And the split allocation is what we just described. So if I'm doing a 60% compound and a 40% withdraw, that was the 1.5 CWR schedule, which is the maximum that I can do if I do not have a legacy NFT. So now that we've kind of planned our strategy based on, how quick do I want an ROI? Do I have a smaller balance in my principal balance and I want to increase that faster, so I may want to compound a little bit more? The next thing to do is just come back to the DApp and be consistent. So if I'm deciding on a 1.5 CWR strategy, I'm going to want to come back to the DApp and do that 60-40 every day. And it doesn't matter if I come back exactly the same time. If I want to come a little bit earlier every day so I'm not letting the timer expire, that's perfectly fine. As long as I'm following that 60-40 schedule or that 50-50 schedule, it's not going to affect my CWR much. It might fluctuate a little bit as you get towards the end of that 14-day cycle, but it's not going to be significant, and it's not going to put you in any red zones, which is what we're concerned about. If you do follow or attempt to follow a daily compound and withdraw schedule, we have this note right here, and that's doing a 100% compound one day, for example, and then doing a 100% withdraw the next. You will have to be more consistent, or you will see, bigger fluctuations in your CWR. You could wait till the 24-hour rewards timer expires to make sure that you're doing balanced actions, and you're not doing a more weighted compound schedule versus a withdraw schedule. But once again, that just depends on you. If you're very disciplined or you have an alarm set every day, then it might be okay to do a daily schedule. But we still recommend that split allocation, a 60-40 or a 50-50 is by far a much easier approach. And we talked a little bit about weekly schedules. There are some other dApps that we're aware of that have weekly schedules, and people maybe, coming from another protocol and wanting to follow a very similar schedules. We do not recommend a weekly schedule. If you're doing a 4-day of compounds, for example, and a 3-day withdrawal, you could run the risk of falling below that 0.75 CWR, which is definitely a no-no. That will send your investment to a 0.5% daily ROI, which we do not want. The other thing we kind of touched on was don't chase the CWR value, and that's going back to the DApp here and trying to get that estimate button, to be a specific CWR that you're trying to achieve. Once again, what really matters is what's going into your principal balance and what's going into your wallet. As long as your CWR is in the green, I wouldn't worry too much. If you're trying to get to that maximum 1.5, it will happen over time as long as you're doing that 60-40 effectively. So as long as I'm coming back in every day or every action that I take, I'm doing a 60-40, eventually that 1.5 will happen naturally. And I won't have to, keep sliding these back and forth to try to.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think there's still more to go, but it stopped.
It's loading. It's kind of strange. So I think we have a pretty fast connection. And you guys can hear me here. Well, if we pause it, we'll continue to load.
hit that 1.5.
There you go.
And then the most important one is don't test that lower CWR limit. We see people that are trying to run that edge and take out or withdraw for many good reasons, that people may want to accelerate their withdrawal rate. Maybe they need the money to pay some bills or something like that. But it usually doesn't make a lot of financial sense to play that edge. Withdrawing to that 0.75 ratio could mean $4 or $5 per day additional money back into your wallet, but you do run the risk that if time elapses a little bit more on the timer, and it's giving you a little bit more weight on the withdrawal side that you weren't aware of, and then you hit the allocation button, that transaction could go through and you could fall below that 0.75. You should be alerted ahead of time, but it is possible that if you come back, don't refresh the screen or reconnect the wallet, that timer has elapsed, and now there are more withdrawal seconds in your CWR schedule, and you could fall below that 0.75. So I would say keep that buffer, around 1 if you're concerned about it. Definitely don't try to play with those sliders to get to that 0.75 number. That would be a mistake. And just stay safe. And if you have any questions, once again, ask an admin in either Discord or TG before you take any actions, and we can give you a clearer picture of what your history has looked like. And then, if you were going to run that risk or take that risk, just be diligent about it, I guess is the main message. And then preparing for auto allocation. This is very important to help our system on the gas fee side of things. We're seeing some errors that are being triggered because some people are doing 100% compounds before they enter the auto allocation system, and there's reaching the upper CWR limit based on the schedule that they've selected in auto allocation. So the main message here is do the split allocation. So do a 50-50 prior to starting the auto allocation, or do a 60-40 if you're trying to hit that 1.5 and that's the schedule that you're selecting. Do the manual actions with a split allocation before entering the auto allocation, because the auto allocator essentially runs a split allocation schedule. So if you select a 1.0, the auto allocation is going to do a 50-50. And that's why we also recommend not to do 100% withdrawal actions before starting the auto allocation, because it's possible if you have large chunks of 100% withdrawals in your 14-day rolling average and you're doing a 1.0, for example, on auto allocation, those 100% withdrawals could throw you down below the 0.75 limit, which we don't want to do. So that kind of sums it up for the CWR tips and best strategies. Go ahead and take a look at this page in the white paper. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in Telegram, Discord, or any of our other channels. Thank you for your time, and I hope this helps. Bye-bye.
Let's go. Man, I think we've got a future YouTube star here in the works. Great presentation, Fred. That was amazing.
Yeah, like I said, it's probably not up to the professional standards that ARK has, but it'll do for now until we can get the voice on it, the Kelly Snook voice.
I think you did amazing. Great job. And look, the important part is getting the information out there and being able to share it with the community as fast as possible, because we're answering the same questions over and over and over again. It is draining a lot of time from the development work that's happening here. As you guys know, we have a very aggressive pace. We work Saturdays, Sundays, every day, and that's not just us here, myself and Brett and all the admins, but also the devs. And having the same questions coming over and over again on something that, might be intuitive to some, and to others, it might be confusing them. We've realized that as soon as you have this conversation, it's pretty quick. Folks just get it. It's like, okay, I understand. I got to shift my mindset from that daily compound claim to a whole average where you're really receiving the same amount of money. And if you do it correctly, it could even be more, because you're not having to take into equation all the seconds that are happening in a 14-day period, which is thousands of seconds. And if today you're compounding 2 hours early, and then the day before that another one, we're starting to see these things, and we want to create information that can educate you folks in an easy format. Because it's simple, but you just gotta understand it. So great job, Brett. way getting ahead of this. I know Catalyst is working on an article about this as well for the folks that like to read. But we're going to go ahead and share this with all of the groups, all the communities. And with that, let's actually just go right into questions regarding that. Is there anybody that wants further clarification? This is your turn. This is your time to go ahead and make it happen.
So where can I find the video or audio?
Right now, it's on the quick start guide page in the white paper. I embedded it there, but it sounds like we'll go ahead and distribute that as well. It's a link to a application called Loom. So it's the video right now is hosted by them, but I'm going to get it over to Gordy, our designer, and see if he can condense it down and put it on Telegram at one point. Maybe part of the we have a CWR tips command, I believe it's called, that we created today that has this content, or at least, it has a link to the CWR tips and strategies page on the white paper. Let's see, where are you?
Paper.
Yeah, it's in the white paper, Atlas. If you go to the quick start guide, it's on that page. And then I also have a link from the quick start guide over to the CWR tips and strategies.
Okay, trying to find the one.
Let me see. The Atlas, the quick start guide page. It's at the top left.
Guide, the bottom,
yeah, right there.
In the middle, there's a video. Okay.
Yeah, I put it there for now. I'm not sure if we'll leave it there, but I at least have it there. And then we'll decide if it, should remain there, or if Kelly does a version of it or something, we'll probably replace it. And then I'll see if Gordy can get into a format that will stream easily. Right now, this is probably the best way, just to use their hosting to stream it. I don't know how good Gitbook is at streaming video. Actually, I think all they allow is an embed. I don't think they host video. And then there's also a link just above that video, Atlas, that goes to the tips and strategies page.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah, we were just on that one. Let's go backwards. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There we go. Be consistent.
Gotcha.
I like that. This is great, man.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure
I'm getting
somebody
feedback.
has to have a question about it.
I'm getting some feedback from people too, and I'll incorporate any changes. So if anybody wants to read through that and send me any edits or areas that don't make sense or not clear enough, I'd be happy to either expand or adjust accordingly.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Any questions, comments, guys?
I think you clarified everything really, really well there, Brett. Certainly think we should get that out to the community and put it on rotation in the bot so people can see it, because it does seem to be a part that people are not understanding fully, and hopefully it will show people it's a much better practice to do the split, percentage allocations as opposed to the 100% compounds, 100% claims.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, and also as we onboard people, they should go through at least that quick start guide. I know people don't like to read the white paper. Some people do, but other people don't. They want to just jump in and throw money in and play around with it. But maybe if at least they could read the quick start guide page and watch that video, that'll get them, I think, on the right path, set in the right direction, so that they don't end up in a couple of weeks with a bunch of questions or running into limits that they didn't expect to see.
All right. So let's go do the Spark rewards, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time. Let's make it happen. There it is. And the winner is ending with 55C0. Congratulations. That's where it always gets quiet. Everybody checking their wallets, checking their syndicate. Somebody in my syndicate, the downlines. Somebody above me. Is there somebody below me?
I think that's me, Mike
Oh,
C.
yes, sir.
Let me just double check, but I think that's me. I'm on Catalyst team.
Fantastic.
I know he's got like 43A or something like that. Let's see here.
Oh, that
6
wallet,
Charlie
43A.
55 Charlie 0. Yep.
Let's
Sure
go.
Woo! Congratulations, Mike. Well done, sir.
All right.
Yep.
Hey, there's definitely something happening with folks coming to the podcast, participating, and winning, because it's just becoming a huge trend here, guys. I don't know if you see it. I see it.
My net deposit value is up, but some of the other things aren't, but maybe that's just some lag.
Right. You don't see the 149.46?
Well, so I don't know well enough exactly what should be going up or what, but just going back to my vault page, I know my net deposit value went way up.
Okay.
And my principal balance looks the same. But I don't know if principal balance will change or not.
That will have gone into your pending deposits, Mike. So when you take an action, it will be added to your principal balance.
Right. Okay. Super. I had already, taken an action like half hour ago or something. So I'll see it tomorrow. But I can see the NDV is way up.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Well played.
Yeah,
As we say,
absolutely.
it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And
Yeah.
today is that day. Congratulations, fam. Really
Yeah,
happy
thank
for
you very much. This is cool.
Oh, what a shame Catalyst missed it. Well, I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll hear all about it.
Mhm.
We got the recording.
Absolutely.
He is missed. Try to wait for him. And usually, right now at this time, which is UTC midnight, he is watching like a hawk the legacy rewards, which were executed perfectly. Second here. All right. A lot of DMs. Mr. Z, how are you doing, sir? Happy to have you on tonight.
I'm excited. Mike, I rooted for you, man. I think some things happen for a reason. Congrats.
Yeah, it's super.
Yeah, man. Always.
I got a team that's kind of dragging their feet getting over into ARK, so I'm over in my own little channel here talking to them about this, seeing if any of them would want to jump on board. We'll see.
This has got to be motivation, Mike. This is something. This is beautiful. And it's great. I mean, this is our 25th. Is it our 25th Spark Reward?
23rd.
23rd. Sorry, my bad. 23rd. Yeah, 23. That's quite big. Name me name me an ROI that does a Spark Award of $700 to $800 every single day of the week, every single day of the month, every single day of the year. So this is celebration, and to see a bunch of you, like not just you, Mike, a bunch of us here, Mistletoe, Crypto69, Terry Tips, everybody here, to keep compounding and claiming, and keep showing up to the podcast, and it feels really special to to see it sort of come out, and then that person to be in our podcast. It connects differently. I think it gets us all super excited. So congrats to everybody that's been part of the 23 winners. And for today, I think today was one of the biggest ones. I mean, yesterday was 157, but today was 149 ARK. It was a big prize draw. So congrats.
Indeed.
Go ahead, Udaman.
Yes, I just noticed that I was invited to ARK DAO. So DAO chat room is open, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how do
That's
you
big.
invite? Do you personally invite, or how do you know who has NFT, who doesn't?
No, this is a public channel for folks to hang out. If you are a legacy NFT holder, we're going to be providing a lot of daily information and statistics for those holders. But there's going to be another group that you're going to have to, prove that you're a legacy NFT holder. That's going to be completely private, and that's where the polls will be taking place. This is more of a public general group. Give data to the DAO, some updates, information, and also letting the rest of the community know what the DAO is up to. What are we discussing with them? So if they want to peek and they want to understand external investments and what's going to be coming here to the ARK, that's a place where folks can see as well. They don't have a vote.
Public room. I can
Yes,
invite
sir.
anyone who are interested.
Of course, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the primary function is to give information to the DAO, which are the legacy NFT holders, right? The owners. But there will be a separate group that we're going to use for polling. And to get into that, like I said, there's going to be a confirmation that you are an owner. That's not here yet. One day at a time, as they say. And with one day at a time, I think you guys have noticed we did a pretty cool update to the server where we've brought our tech support in-house. We had a external group, but we're noticing that the admins are having to switch between the folders and the different groups, and it just seems better to really bring everything under one umbrella here, under one main group. We have all the languages from Korean, Greek, Filipino, Japanese, Hebrew, Arabic, Ukrainian, Czech, Hungarian, Danish, Thai. Oh, I like Thai food. The Turkish, even Hindi and Chinese, Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, Russian, Dutch, and German. So we're going to classify really the whole globe as we are a global investment, right? Anyone can really come and invest in the ARK, and it's easier to have it more generalized by language than by 300 countries and different groups, and then posting the information there, managing the groups. If there's anybody putting their hand up, our staff here, our admins, and even our investors, our community is able to interact and see what's happening without going to all these different groups. So we hope you like that. That's a nice upgrade that the team did for the ARK today. Let's get this crypto.
Yeah, let's get this crypto. Daddy.
Oh, god damn.
Oh, yeah, let's get this crypto.
Let's get it. Atlas, can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Awesome. Let me share my screen. Hi, Brad, can you see my screen? Is it showing up?
Certainly can, Z.
Certainly can, right? So if you can see my screen currently, we're looking at Ethereum price, and the speculation is, are we on our way up? Has the inflation cooled down? Has interest rates sort of hike stop? Are they stopping for March? Is Federal Powell being being more consistent with how the market's following, not bringing any atrocious more basis point hikes? I think the market kind of feels that we are looking to recover. So I think as things are recovering, we're seeing higher prices. We're seeing higher prices at the daily and on the hourly basis. So that's the thing I want to first open it up to. But yeah, we stay cautious. Please don't buy this top. Whenever we sort of maintain buying the dips, we actually mean buying the technical dips. We mean buying floors, and this is the kind of price action that you want to buy, not up here at 1300 or 14 or 16. So we'll monitor price there. So on a technical point, this is something that sort of got me today to see that price hasn't dipped. So we'll see it over the next few days to see if BNB and everything else is also on the way up, because the better sort of BNB and Ethereum and Bitcoin does, the better the overall DeFi market does. So it's how we do a health check. So that's one thing I'd like to just cover in the price action. If anyone's going to ask the question, should I be buying this? Should I not be buying this? No, wait to see a subtle dip. We believe that the March sort of Ethereum hard fork for, I think, the Shanghai update hard fork will be a point of a dip in the price action. So that's the news on Binance. On DeFi Llama, this is something that I think I'm going to make you guys see on a day-to-day basis, because this is a small study sort of session. And then we can sort of deep dive into these protocols, because it's important for DeFi to know where the liquidity pools are, what are the ranks. So right now, Lido is something that's been in the top one sort of the chart for like the past for total value locked for the past, you can say, week or so. MakerDAO did go up for a little bit, but nothing beats Lido right now. It seems everyone wants to stake their Ethereum and have their flexible staking rewards, just like we do at ARK. So if you have a good use case, the crowd comes to you. But it's also good to see Aave reach total value locked to 4.5 billion. So 4.5 billion of total value locked in Aave. MakerDAO's at 6.45 billion. And Lido's at 6.6 billion. So overall, crypto's up, guys, right? We were at 37 billion total value locked in the past week or so. With price action, with people joining into DeFi and learning that yield, we're seeing a total value locked of DeFi at 41.18 billion. Which is pretty healthy. And out of that total value lock, Lido dominates by 16%. So these are things that we should always keep an eye on. The other thing is with DeFi Llama, if you want to look into things, because we are based on Binance Smart Chain, and if you just want to, like, for example, just want to see the rank pools for BSC, you can do that as well. All you have to do is click BSC there instead of all. And then the sort of table toggles towards all BSC APYs, and you can see up there Pancake and VenaSwap is the highest liquidity sort of thing. So we're listed on Pancake. So 2.9 billion locked for Pancake there. If we click on Ethereum, we see Lido there, Lido and MakerDAO. MakerDAO and Lido are the main total value locked staking rewards. And then we can look into Curve and Uniswap and Convix Finance. We can basically go into little rabbit holes into these protocols, because when mass adoption happens, these are the kind of protocols that'll bring in the crowd. So that's one thing about DeFi Llama that I'm liking now, that you can do separate things. You can also do layer 2 sort of total value locks. And a new tool has happened, I think, for people that are looking for swap options. Look into swap.defilama.com, because can you guys hear me? I heard myself repeat for a second.
We can hear you, mate.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so DeFi Llama has a meta aggregator. What this thing does is pretty cool. Let's say I want to swap between Ethereum to, or let's say BNB, right? If BNB shows up here, BNB. Okay, let's say I want to swap between Ethereum and I want to get a stable out, right? I want to do USDT. Now what's happening on the left, on the right is you're finding the protocols that are basically offering the least amount of gas fee. So what they're doing is it's an aggregator, it's a router, and what it does is it routes you into the best options you have to do the Ethereum and USDT swap. And you can test this out. You can test it on different mainnets. If you want to go to BSC and you want to do BNB and you want to swap into something like maybe something like Matic, right? If you want to buy Matic, you can go to any of these, and on the right it shows you Paraswap is the best place for you to swap this because they have the least gas fee at just 55 cents. So these are things these are tools that everyone should keep in mind, and this will make you an intelligent investor. Let's say you want to buy some ARK and you have Ethereum, right? And to buy ARK you need some BNB, or let's say USDC, right? USDC is our thing. So let's say you want to swap your Ethereum into USDC so you can put that into the ARK vault. You will basically come to swap.defilama.com and find that Paraswap is giving the best aggregator for that. So this is how you use the tool, and it's important for us to know what's the best tools to like swap, and usually we go to PancakeSwap or Uniswap, or we go to 1inch, or we go to other dexes to find a swap, but you never get a place where like everything happens all in one place, and that's what DeFi Llama is kind of doing. So that's a little routine that you guys can follow. So that's an aggregator there, and keep using DeFi Llama, not just for swaps. Use it as we do to see which chains have the most total value locked. So you can tell your folks that, guys, there's $41.1 billion locked up in DeFi, and when the bull run comes, it'll be 200 billion. And one day we'll look back on these days saying, "Oh, I remember when it was $41 billion. Today it's 1.2 trillion, 2.5 trillion." It's gonna happen. So you can use it for everything. You can use it to like do a DEX aggregator. You can look to do a stable raise. You can see liquidity staking. You can see Ethereum liquidity. You can see all these different things, and even yield. And it's a good place to compare. So that's the news on DeFi Llama, and I hope you guys find that insightful, because a bunch of us do our swaps. We do things on a day-to-day basis, and we pay these high gas fees. And should we have to, if there's an aggregator that kind of guides us through that? So yeah, today's topic's a little bit tutorial-like, but I think we'd appreciate sort of things like that can do that. In the main news today, we've had the UK Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, come out with, so this is like CBDC news. And the reason people don't want, are not trusting CBDCs is because they, like CBDCs has two sort of variables. The first variable is it's got unlimited supply action. So it doesn't have any difference to what we see right now in the sort of economic field, where we have unlimited printing in dollar value. So we're going to see more. This is why it's being stretched to like 2024, 2025. to see how people react to the news, and then hopefully it stays a limited supply, because I do want to see the digital pound, I want to see the digital dollar at a limited supply, so it pegs, just like it did in the 70s, in the 60s and 70s with gold and silver, and have real value to precious metal or peg to something, and or CBDC pegs to Ethereum or Bitcoin. That'd be pretty cool. So that's one side of CBDC that people are very suspicious about. The other side of you can say CBDC people are suspicious about is people don't want their transactions tracked. And as we know, something like a digital currency, as we've seen in Etherscan, we have our privacy because no one knows our wallet address, but we can see which transactions happen, and that's the transparent side of it. So the whole thing is like, if we do KYC to use a CBDC, are the government going to track our transactions? So today, the UK Prime Minister came out, and the title reads, "Digital pound won't track retail transactions." This is the first time a first world country sort of leader is coming out and being so public about it. So what's the quick take? So a digital a digital pound platform would give authorities visibility into banks and not users, a Treasury Minister said in a Parliament meeting. A consulting paper on a UK central bank digital currencies will be published by the government in the coming weeks, in cooperation with the Bank of England. So Brad, what do you think, man? Because we're English, right? Should we deep dive into this paper that's coming up in a week?
Certainly interesting for me and you, Z, being over in the UK, and anybody else over here. Very, very important for us, for sure.
It is. It's important because, Brad, people don't understand that like sort of England is the most you can say CCTV camera state, right? It's George Orwell like.
There are more CCTV cameras in England than the rest of the world put together. That is just an absolutely insane statistic when you consider how small England is. But everywhere you go here, there are CCTV cameras on, like, in London, it's every lamppost, every set of traffic lights. It's absolutely everywhere. It's crazy. People definitely don't understand it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we don't feel comfortable around it. We don't like to pay as many parking fines as we should do. It creates a place where no one feels private. People feel like they're tracked. Now imagine, Brad. Now imagine if the Bank of England, right? If the Bank of England tracked every citizen's transactions. Imagine that surveillance state. That's like our CCTV times 1,000x, right?
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy, right?
Yeah. So these are things that people so if London out of England is a smart city, and in smarter city you have a Bank of England and you have all these CCTV cameras that are tracking you. This is sort of a domino effect that will happen in other smart cities, such as Chicago, like New York, California, Tokyo, Barcelona, Madrid, Milano. Like these are places where smart city environments are co-creating, and they're going to be looking forward to this sort of report, and we're going to see if something like this can happen worldwide. This would give this would prove George Orwell's 1986 book, right? So George Orwell in his book mentioned that we are going to be tracked at a hyper compound level. These like in his time in the 80s, he thought it would be sort of CCTV cameras, but then it turned into surveillance, you can say robots that follow you left, right, center. Now imagine if those surveillance bots were tagged with wallet addresses from the Bank of England. and someone's getting flagged, and now you get a surveillance bot that comes to your door and says and says you have to evacuate. I'm playing into the paranoia. I'm exaggerating here, but I'm trying to give you guys a little notice of how much CBDCs can track us, and why it's important to have headlines like these where ministers are coming out saying we're not going to track your retail transactions. That's your private matter. So they say we're going to track the behavior of banks. And so what does, I mean, we had a whole discussion about this, about metadata, right? Metadata being tracked by the NSA, and this is the whole Snowden files all over again. But we'll see in 2024 and 2025. I think like this is how I see it. I see it where people will have a choice. People will have a choice between CBDCs and something like BNB or something like ARK. And people will make a decision between the two, which gives them the most yield for their income, what gives them the most value for their buck, and I think it's going to be a place of public versus private digital currency, and we're going to see a bunch of that. So that's the news about England, and that's this is like the sort of Orwellian world that we're kind of living in. And we got to understand it's many different utilities and both the pros and the cons. And right now the whole thing about tracking people's transactions is to me it's ridiculous. I'm sure a lot of you are private in that way. So that's one news that came out. So you can find this all on our Discord. And the second news I want to go through is actually Miles Deutscher. Every couple of weeks, he does his rundown of like things to look out for, and he did this one just on the eve of New Year's, and I thought we'd go through this top 22 crypto lessons learned in 2022, and see if you guys feel the same thing, right? Because I think this is really important. So number one, DeFi is the only way forward. Most of this year's major collapses were a reflection of human nature, not the underlying technology. FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, Voyager, Genesis, to name a few. So he's differentiating that. Basically, what's to blame here is the centralized exchanges, and what made the centralized exchanges sort of falter was because of human nature. It was because a few centralized characters, board of directors, made a decision without doing a DAO vote, and it turned out to be something that wasn't favorable. Like we saw the withdrawal halt on Celsius. BlockFi is just gonna claim Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and we know about the FTX debacle. So the underlying technology, which is DeFi, is the way forward. That's what we're learning more and more, and that's because we can vote. It has different mechanisms, so that's one thing. The second thing I want to make sure is like this is important because we shouldn't like they say you shouldn't worship idols. Anything that you see in data point, if it's leading to a leader, to not basically fall appraisal to that, because you need to keep an open option of what's going on. So this number 2 is pretty interesting because nothing is too big to fail. So Luna was a top 5 layer 1. Honestly, guys, if you guys were following layer 1s right on CoinGecko, the top 30 is really hard to get into, especially if you are a layer 1 yourself. Get into top 30, then top 15. The way Luna went to top 10 was really suspicious. It just showed you how much money was there. So Luna was a top 5, and this was a place where 3,000 developers were actually working on an ecosystem. You can say the lessons to be learned here is nothing is too big to fail. And gone are the days where the banks get bailed. If something's becoming a dinosaur, if something is taking too much of an over-aggressive things or creating products like we're going to get to it, but the algorithmic stablecoin. If people are creating such ambitious products, then anything can fall. So FTX was a top 3. Yeah, so Luna was a top 5 layer 1, and FTX was a top 3 exchange. So don't let the size of a project mask its vulnerabilities. If the mechanism is fundamentally flawed, size isn't going to prevent an inevitable collapse. That leads me to the next point, right? Pretty insightful, honestly. If a mechanism is broken, it won't work, no matter how big it gets. Also made this point in a recent interview, and it stuck with me. Make sure a mechanism is sound before you invest, and don't let market caps blind you with potential flaws. Like, now, this is something that's really important, because if a project is basically claiming to say that we are going to be a wallet for this use case, or we're going to create a DEX aggregator for this case, for pools, and they're not delivering at the get-go, at their launch, then realize that the mechanisms aren't there to begin with, right? So this is what happens. People look at market cap and quickly back that project, and they don't do their research. This is a complete Dior lesson, a very insightful one. Number 3, don't hodl blindly. Reevaluate your thesis on a regular basis. For example, every month, go through your portfolio and ask yourself, why am I holding this token? If I wasn't holding, why would I buy this token right now? So this is another thing. Like there's a hodler mentality in DeFi, and realize, guys, any investment you make, anything you do, make sure that that the team and the project's roadmap is accountable for why you're investing into it, because that's how things can drop in price. And do a like we used to do a monthly check, and then in stocks and stuff, people do a yearly, quarterly check. I say do a weekly check. This is how much, because DeFi is one of the most fluctuating asset classes in the world right now, more than any stock, more than any asset class. I think even more than the index. It fluctuates so much. So don't hodl blindly. Always on a weekly basis, check what tokens you're into, and see if they're holding out to their utility. Number 4, number 5. Let's go to now. This comes to the Luna thing. Algorithmic stablecoins don't work. To date, we haven't seen this model succeed in any substantial amount of time. So far, every attempt has failed. UST, Bean, Wave, USN, just to name a few. Fully understand the stablecoins design before putting a cent in. So this is it's true. It's very, very true. I think algorithmic stablecoin, which means basically that the treasury of that ecosystem, example Luna, is backed behind the tokens like Bitcoin, like you can say Ethereum, like BNB, like Aave, and that's what he was doing. He was buying. They were buying tops to basically create the algorithmic stablecoin. But when price fluctuated the way it did, it halved the stablecoin price. So keep an eye on that, guys. It's really important. Not your keys, not your coins, right? This famous crypto phase has proven true once again with the downfall of many crypto exchanges and centralized lenders. This year, the importance of self-custody is more pertinent than ever. Get a ledger and always store your own assets. Now, this is something I get DM'd a lot about. Z, I got these tokens in my wallet, and it seems to have a price value of $1,000 to $2,000. How do I cash this out? It's not like they won't ask me if it's Seifu, right? If funds are Seifu, they'll ask me, how do I cash this out? And when I tell them that this is a spam, to not fall for it, to not look to withdraw those funds, people think I'm being envious. When the truth is, I'm trying to safeguard you. I'm trying to safeguard you. If those are not your keys or not your coins, then most probably it's you're the target. So be very careful, guys. Timing the top is impossible. This is another thing. Like, people ask in crypto a lot, is this the top? Is this the top? Have we reached the top? have we reached the bottom? These are things, guys, we cannot predict. And I know a lot of people who do this. They go DeFi influencers. They go to different forums. They go through Discord, and everyone goes, "Is this the top? Is this the bottom?" It's impossible to find out, because we don't know when the whales are about to sell their wallets, or we don't know when the inflation rate is going to go up, or interest rates go up the way that the dollar did it. I mean, no one expected that in COVID time, when we're going post COVID, that the Fed Reserve will be increasing interest rates. It's really bad, because you had a year or two of printing money, and then you're going straight into putting hike interest rates. It's a scary thing. So these things, we cannot predict these things. So make sure that that anything that you do, you do it at your own accountability, and not go for influencers and experts. So that's the thing. So now this is the big one. This is something that ARK kind of fulfills, and it's really important. So number 8, chase real yield, not fake commissions. Right? If a project is paying a juicy APR, ask yourself, what is the source of the yield? Is the yield sustainable? Is this strategy delta neutral, or does it involve a directional bias? Now this is the thing, guys. This is why I look into DeFi Llama a lot. This is why we look for the 1 to 2%. We don't if something is offering you 300% APY to 1,000 APY, realize that they're pegging against their own token, and at any given time that APR can fall really hard if people are dumping the token. This is the thing about yield farming that you have to be very, very careful of. So only invest in consistent APYs. Something like ARK is consistent. Something like DeFi Llama will tell you the best yield just via functions like you can say yield. If you just click on yield, you'll know which are the delta neutral things, or the leverage lending, or borrowing, or lending, or stablecoin pools. Like this is something that will give you some data, and this will safeguard you. So that's that. Atlas, I realized I've taken half an hour of time. Do I still have a bit more time to go through these, or I should go to the next segment?
Okay, man. Keep going.
Okay, thank you, man. Thank you. So make sure that you're not going after a 300% to 1,000% APY, unless it's a proper exchange and there's real reason behind it. So be really careful about things like these. And if you're doing yield farming, make sure that you do a weekly check-in to see if as APY dropped since I started this thing. If it has dropped significantly, to take out your Ethereums and stables and stuff and go for something that's more sustainable. Don't worship cult figures, number 10. Right? This is the whole centralized theory. The whole point we're in DeFi is because we want a decentralized democracy. We don't want to be looking ahead of a leader anymore. I think we've seen presidents, we've seen kings and queens, we've seen pharaohs. Society sees when a centralized sort of entity gets way too much power, then it always leads to you can say a downfall as well, because people can have sort of selfish intellect, and we're human beings after all. We have it within us to have both sides of the scale. So SPF, Do Kwon, Zusu, we're all lauded for their genius, right? We were calling SPF and FTX the future Goldman Sachs or something, right? Like this is what our New York Times was writing about. This is what our Forbes magazine was saying. So we have to be very, very careful. When they failed, their tokens went with them. No one in crypto is untouchable. And this is the humbling standpoint of crypto. No one is untouchable. This is not a too big to fail bank. Things, if they're not like in a progressive manner, if the roadmaps aren't hit, if the companies are doing enough to expand, then realize that from there people are going to start selling that token. So no one is untouchable in crypto. A big lesson. Rotating isn't the same as taking profits. I got caught in this trap a few times. Make a 10x, rotate into another project, make a 5x, rotate in a second project, token drops 50%. This happens a lot in DeFi, guys. And make sure that if you are if you're taking profits, to take a sizable amount. If you put $1,000 into something and you're up 2,400, make sure that the initial investment's taken out and the initial profits are taken out. What people end up doing is they take out, let's say, $2,000, and then they rotate it into 5 other projects. And then what happens is then they rotate it into one project. And okay, this is the layer 1 that I'm interested in. Then what happens is that token price falls 50%. And that, with that goes your profit. So it's really important to not get caught into this thing. If you're taking profits, make sure you take profits in a nice way. And this is something we say at ARK all the time, to take profits always. Thus far, crowd, I want to ask, has anyone got any questions or anything? Because we are going into some heavy detail here, and I can kind of understand if this is too heavy. But if there's something in the last top 11 that no one understood, this is your time. I'm giving you a second to unmute your mic and give me your opinion or suggestion, because these are important lessons in DeFi. Nobody?
All right. I have a comment.
Go for it. You the man.
Okay, so this is good. And we went over we did rabbit hole on and Aptos.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the price of Aptos when we talk about?
Yeah, Aptos price was it like $2 something?
Yeah, it was $2 something. Right now it is $5. So since it increased, it doubled. So this is, I think, cool, very good. And then it looks like that moving. So we need to keep watching the development of Aptos. And then
yeah, we should.
Second one will be Ton. So they just released the year in review 2022. So last year, what happened? So I have the link and the summary, so you can actually go over it. But just give you some of the bullet points is, so when Ton, last year when they started, I think the ranking was 206.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they entered into 20th. So in CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. So they jump up about 200 letters.
Oh, wow.
And yes, and then they have also their number of wallets will be over 1 million, 1.8 million. So yeah, account. So at the beginning of last year, it was 128K. Right now it's 1.8 million, and then there's 100 million transactions on the network.
Oh, wow.
And then they are doing the hackathon thingy, and so it looks like they are using the language called Fun C. I think that maybe it's a variation of C. They are doing hackathon, and then if you know how to write Fun C, you can write an article, and then they pick winners.
Wow.
So they're giving away some tons, things like that. And then also, it looks like you can buy on the centralized exchange as well as Uniswap, PancakeSwap. And I never used the BeeSwap, but BeeSwap. So you can buy those, and that looks like BeeSwap is offering a farming. So those are the bullet points of the updates on Ton. So I will DM you the year in review 2022, so you can go through, and then if you find something interesting, you can share it next time.
Amazing. Yeah, send it over to me. I'll put it into DeFi links in our Discord, and we'll do that. Thank you, Udaman.
Yeah,
Thank
looks
you.
like it is. Yeah, it is. Looks like they're fast growing, fast develop. I think in development wise and then community wise, they are growing so fast. So we gotta watch them.
Yeah, keep an eye on the Open Network and Aptos. 2x on Aptos. That's pretty cool. I think that's a first where we sort of did a rabbit hole, and within the rabbit hole, Aptos does a 2x and Ton becomes a top 24 token. I think we're touching our minds on the pulse of DeFi a little bit, huh?
Yes, it helped me to research and study about it. I think it's very good. It gives you an interesting aspect, and then you go through and then read the white paper and then read the articles and then see the community, things like that, and you make the decision based on your research. I think this is a good thing, good starting point. And then, in fact, I got some Aptos after the rabbit hole, so that's good.
Yeah, man. Let's go 2x on that. That's beautiful. Thank you for that, Udaman. I'm going to go through a few more points here, and then we'll do the rest tomorrow, because I realize this is quite long, and in each point deserves its space and matter. And then I have one last Discord update, so I'll go through this. Thank you so much, Udaman. So number 13, don't lock tokens unless your time horizon is extremely long. Always prioritize liquidity over extra yield. I learned this the hard way. It almost never worth locking tokens. With the rise of liquid staking, there's more viable alternatives than ever. So he's talking about Ethereum a little bit here, because what people did was they locked their Ethereum for a long time. I think the Ethereum lock was 12 months to 2 years. So always make sure that you can basically always have enough liquidity to test around in other ways. So don't lock it up for a long time. Make sure you always take your initials. Always pay yourself. Always pay yourself, guys. Really important. Now, I'll do number 14. I'll do the next ones tomorrow, because I realize how long I've taken. Liquidity is king. There's always going to be more opportunities. Always keep cash on hand to pounce when the time is right. Nowadays, I always refer to my favorite quote before buying or selling. For one thing, we usually act too quickly when we are trying to make money, and too slowly when we're trying to protect our money. When you're pressed to make a decision, ask yourself, am I doing this to protect my money or to make more money? If the answer is to protect money, act more quickly. If the answer revolves around making more money, act slowly. This is a big life lesson. I think not just DeFi, but just overall. And like diversifying portfolios, looking for opportunities, because this happens. We do move too quick to pounce for some things, and sometimes we move too slowly to protect our things. If we're told to sell the tokens to take it out from that pool, we're very slow at it, and then when it dumps on us, we sort of worry about it. But in DeFi, this is accelerated 100x. So that's why on a weekly basis, you have to look at your stock. So that's one thing. So that's the updates. Number 14. I'll do. There's 22, so I'll do the rest tomorrow, because these are deep lessons, and I want all of you to go through it in DeFi links in our Discord, and make comments, and start healthy debates about these kind of things. Because the more educated we are, the more we engage on our Discord on these things, the more our crowd becomes. You can say, we go from the average Joe to the savage Joe. If we want to become savage Joes, if ARK wants to get there, then we have to elaborate on these important parts of DeFi. Now, the last thing I want to give you guys an update on is that we have language channels on our Discord. So if you just like we have in our tech support and our page, we have different communities. So if you are from India, Portugal, Czech Republic, Hungary, Germany, you can start bringing your teams here, and people are starting to kind of speak here a little bit. Wir treffen und auch überall, right? That's German. But yeah, so bring your communities here. If you are based in, you can say Thailand, or you're based in, you can say Korea, right? Like Udaman, you can bring your folks here and start building your sort of tutorials here, because what people tend to do is people come from different cultures, and sometimes people don't understand the translation in English. So they come here into the Korean channel, and they ask the question like, what is CWR? And maybe somebody here like you, Demand, who's knowledgeable, would explain in Korean what is CWR. So that's why it's important to look into this. So we have a new language channel feature on Discord. We're going to be making more updates on ARK info here, especially with the guideline notes that Brett just posted out. And always keep your eyes on crypto Twitter. There's always some real cool insights on you can say data points, nodes, but also opportunities. So like the DeFi yield meta aggregator, I got it from a tweet from DeFi Dojo from Steven TSG on Twitter. And I got it all here. So whenever I do my DeFi sources, I find so it's the same thing like we talked today about the digital pound, right? Digital pound won't track retail transactions. I took it out from our crypto Twitter. So keep an eye on this. You can also share the link. You can sort of copy message link and be able to post it into any sort of channel. I think I've showed this to you guys before, where you can sort of post it here in general chat. 1 second. And what this will do, it'll open up the whole aggregator here, and basically show you the whole post. So yeah, guys. The other cool thing that I like is we are 452 members on the Discord now. I know there's 2,500 Telegram. I want this to get to 1,000. I'm desperate to get it to 1,000, and then we can do some real interactive AMAs and stuff, and really do some community calls within international channels. We can do so much in between the lines. The other thing you must have noticed was the digital you can say ARK logo on the top left, and you'll also see that our ARK logo on the left is interactive as well. So we are making improvements, and we are making the UI better on Discord, on our website, on all other things. So yeah, I think that sort of clears my DeFi sessions for today. Today, I apologize. I've taken way too much of your time, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, we've gone a bit late, but it's all right, guys. We had a segment prepared for you tonight from Mr. Coach Brad, the All Aboard. All aboard! But we want to go ahead and we want to do that when we have a nice crowd here, because it's very important, and we get to interact a lot more. So we're going to head and move that segment till tomorrow. We'll do it before the Spark Rewards, as we want people to be really engaged. Today was really good too with the video from Brett. Great job there, man. Thank you so much. We really got to go ahead and push that and move it to all the groups. I appreciate that you all participate with that. And we're going to go ahead and close it for tonight. We thank all of you for participating this evening. We hope you enjoyed and you found the podcast educational, entertaining, and hopefully you learned something new. Great alpha that Brett presented for us there. And for the folks that are listening to the recording at a later date, thank you for also participating. Hope you enjoyed it. We wish you all a wonderful evening. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. EST, 11 p.m. UTC. Good night.
Let's get this crypto. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.